I've lost 12 kilos. Thankfully, I actually got blood test results back this morning at the doctor, and both my inflammatory markers have come down, and one of them is actually now in the normal range. So I'm really happy with that. I've still got weight to lose, and I'm still committed to doing the plan and introducing, I guess, a few more foods. My skin is much better. My gut health has improved significantly. I used to have like a lot of bloating, a lot of pain. And so sometimes if I had to go out, I go out and visit early childhood services in my role. Sometimes I would be doubled over in pain, sweating because the pain was that intense. And it's like, I've got to get in the car in 15 minutes and go. Like, this just needs to stop. I haven't had that at all in the last 14 weeks. So that's a huge improvement.
Hello and welcome to the Metabolic Balance Stories podcast. This is where we share real stories and insights to help you on your journey to optimal health with personalized nutrition and metabolic balance, and learn a little bit more about metabolic balance. So I'm Cherry Wills, I'm your host, and I'm delighted to welcome a wonderful metabolic balance client, Nick Hansen, who is joining me today to share her story. Nick began her metabolic balance journey in January of 2026, so January this year, and with her coach, Carolyn Allen. And I just want to say a big hello to Nick. Hi.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm excited to share my story.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful to have you here. And I don't know anything about your story yet, so I would love you to just fill me and everyone listening in on sort of where it, where did everything begin with your health?
So it probably began 30 years ago. So I just turned 50, and just before I was 21, I was diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome. I think after having tonsillitis, and so struggled with, exhaustion, low immune system, picking up everything that goes around, sleeping and not getting any help with it. I went to naturopaths. I did pretty much anything and everything that I could to help, but there's nothing really that helps. Fast forward to 2015 when I was diagnosed with psoriatic arthritis. That came on super quickly. I had a toe that was just hurting, and I thought I must have hit it or something. And a couple of days later, I said, I can hardly walk. I probably should go to the doctor. Had very high inflammation markers, was referred to a rheumatologist, and was in about a 3-month window, was diagnosed with psoriatic arthritis. Went on to the 2 forms of treatment, one being methotrexate and the other, I can't really 100% remember, but it was tablets, and just felt like a walking zombie. It wasn't really helping, lots of nausea, lots of side effects. So then qualified to go into biologicals. Was fortunate that the first one I picked worked. The doctor, then I would have been classed as morbidly obese. So I was 110 kilos for 5'1". So the doctor was always saying, you need to lose weight, which, yes, helps. But when you're exhausted and in pain, harder to do. So it took me about 12 months before I decided that, yes, I did need to. Went on.
So this was all back in 2015, was it?
Yeah, so then in 16, I got in a good headspace. I lost weight. My inflammation markers went down. Everything was going really well. And then the needles just stopped working. I'd been on them for 2.5 years and it just stopped. And I comfort eat. So then when things aren't going well, you're eating, you're comforting. And because I had been training so much, I could manage that. But the training started to decline, but the eating didn't. Fast forward to the end of last year. I was back up. I'd put on all the 40 kilos I'd lost. The exhaustion was next level. I couldn't go through days without having a nap. The pain was high. The inflammatory markers were very high. I picked up every bug known to man. You know, if I got the flu, I was down for 2 weeks. I got COVID and I was like people that said it's a bit of a cold. Not for me, because your immune system's compromised. I tried everything. I went to dietitians and I did a meat-only diet, which I did lose 10 kilos, but you can't survive on meat alone. I had terrible side effects, and an acquaintance had done metabolic balance with Carolyn, and I thought I'd seen her looking just exhausted and no sparkle, and she'd put on weight, and I could see that, and she dropped a lot of weight and her energy returned and her sparkle, and I thought, there's got to be an option out there. I've spent 30 years doing pretty much anything that sounds legitimate. I've been to pain specialists. I've been on all sorts of medication. I've been through lots of biological medication. And I know when my weight's lower, my inflammation's lower, my pain's more because I'm doing more. So I can live with that. And I thought, this can't hurt. So before Christmas, I reached out to Carolyn to have a connection call to understand what the program was, because I'd never heard of it. And I thought, I don't know. And it is quite expensive. So I thought, I want to know a little bit about it. And so we had a conversation, and I really felt the biggest thing I felt was heard. She understood what I was talking about. She listened to me. She understood, and she heard some of the things that I possibly wasn't saying. And she said, we'll do an initial consultation and I'll get your whole history of everything. So that was about 90 minutes. And again, I felt heard. I wasn't being judged because of my weight, because of my pain, because you're lazy.
Yeah. The pain, can I just ask a bit more about the pain before? Was this whole body pain, or just general whole body pain? Can you describe it?
Yeah, psoriatic arthritis affects various joints. So I can often have like sore knuckles, sore fingers, sore knees, walking can hurt, elbows, toes. And so I predominantly get it in nearly all my joints. And so sometimes you're going, it's a left knee, a right ankle, my right elbow and shoulder, and my left wrist. You're kind of going, everything's hurting. And sometimes there's no rhyme or reason to it. I just go, wow, my foot is suddenly hurting. I get hot joints, so I can feel them and go, they're really hot. I can see they're swollen. I get around my ankles, I get a lot of fluid build up at the end of the day because I think there's a lot more going on in my body. So I don't think my lymphatic system drains very well. And if you're not moving, some days in the beginning.
Yeah, it's hard. It's just hard. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew if I could get out and go walking, after about 20 minutes of going, I just need to go home. This is too much. Sometimes crying on my walks. The pain does seem to ease a little bit, but you've got to get through that part. And it's great for the doctors to go, but you need to lose weight, get out and go for a walk. But when you're going, I actually can't get out of bed. Like I've slept 12 hours and and the exhaustion is all consuming, that you just sit there and go, I could put my head down now and sleep. My muscles tend to ache. And so I just thought, I haven't tried metabolic balance. It sounded like what I'd like. I liked the fact that my friend lost weight because I thought, well, that will help. And so once I not procrastinate, I think about things once I've got all the information, once I've made a decision, it's happening. So we set a date.
Okay.
We were going to start because I thought otherwise, because we were going to do it in January, we had Christmas and it's like otherwise you go, I'll do it in January. Oh, it's February. I'll do it at the end of, now it's March. So we just set a date.
You just got to get going. Yeah.
Yep. They say not to start it if you've got, a lot of stress or things happening. And then I got a call back from a mammogram that they wanted to do further testing, which I've never had that happen before. And I was like, oh God, they moved my appointment a week earlier. And it's like, I've bought all this food. I'm all prepared to start, but they say not to do it. And I thought, do I start or not? And I thought, you know what? If I start and I go on Tuesday to the cancer clinic and they go, actually, you're the next contestant for breast cancer, at least I've had a few days of eating healthy. The food was going to go bad if I didn't use it. So I just started. Thankfully, everything was fine. And I, was given the all clear. So that was great. And I just started the process. The blood test had come back showing me things that didn't surprise me, being that I was again morbidly obese, cardiovascular risk, inflammatory markers were up, which is part of the condition I have, risk of diabetes, high blood pressure, which I have. So I was like, the blood test didn't make me go, oh, wow, that shocks me. And then just got the list of foods to eat.
Yeah, you got your plan.
Yeah, got the plan, and it's pretty straightforward. It was easy to follow and got into it.
So you start eating from your food in January, and it sounds to me like you were pretty focused. You were pretty focused as well. You were kind of, yep, I'm doing this. And so, when did you start to think, okay, this is doing something good here?
Probably fairly much straight away. In terms of, I started to notice the weight loss straight away. Drinking a whole lot more water. Like I noticed my skin started to glow. It looked a lot, shinier and healthier than it was. Some of my symptoms, I had a lot of gut issues. They started to clear up pretty much immediately. So it was kind of like, this is really good. And it made sense to me because you're eating whole foods and clean and not a lot. Like I didn't find I was hungry, but I felt satisfied because Carolyn said to me, you're probably going to find you're hungry. And I didn't find that. I found on days that I worked from home, if I finished a meeting, it'd be like, oh, I wonder what's there to eat. And I thought, but I'm not actually hungry. It's just a habit.
Yeah.
You finished a meeting, you go and grab a biscuit and a coffee or whatever. So some of the foods weren't to my liking, but other than that.
Yeah. Did you try them? Did you try them anyway, or were you kind of?
I did.
Yeah.
I did, because there was enough variety with things that if you went, oh, some of that seafood I wouldn't eat, there was still enough on there that you could go, yeah, but I'll eat that and I could eat that.
Yeah.
There's enough to manage. So we did along the way make a few tweaks to some things because I went, oh, I just can't do that. But
yeah.
It's been relatively easy to get the foods, prepare the meals.
Yeah.
And I guess seeing the changes is the biggest thing.
Yeah, and that's the biggest motivation at the end of the day, isn't it? And I think you have the clear picture. So it, are you somebody that usually likes to be told what to do, or because basically you had with MD, you get given your plan and you work with your coach, Carolyn, and yeah, you're just supported and here's what you do, off you go. How did that normally sit with you?
I guess it sort of depends on what the situation is, because I don't really like being told what to do. But when it comes to health, like I don't know everything. So sometimes the things that I've learned over my life that you think, well, that sounds good because that's what somebody says. When you put it into the metabolic balance, I guess, arena, that's not the best thing for you. So some things have had to be tweaked. So probably the first 4 to 6 weeks, I just ate exactly what was on there. So I was basically eating, what was on my list, but turkey and vegetables, chicken and vegetables, oats and things. Like I didn't really deviate much, whereas then a bit further in, Carolyn worked with me and said, well, like what things do you like to eat? What are you missing in your life? So we've started, and now that I've done the 12 weeks, but I'm still working with her, we've started to add more things in. So like I missed pasta. So now I have red lentil pasta, which you can just get at Woolies, and I prepare it. And it actually, like to me, it feels a bit like I'm still having a pasta meal. But I know it's healthy.
Yeah.
I know it's helping my body.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think if you're...
I mean, from what sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt there, Nick.
That's all right, you go.
I was going to say that I think, from hearing your story, like you say, you've had 30 years of trying everything and anything, everything that you can, and listening to all different people. You've had mixed success with different things over the time, but then things, it hasn't. And it was that point where you do want the change, you do want to feel better. And it's like, tell me what to do so I can do it. And then that's the beauty of what MB gave you. It really gave you what you needed to do in order to actually get results from day one.
Yes. And I guess if the reasoning behind it, like if somebody explains something to me and I can go, well, that makes sense to me. I can understand how that would work. Yep, I'm prepared to try it. And so I have tried lots of things. And because I know people say it from a good space, but they say things like, oh, my friend has that. She drank celery juice and she's cured. Okay, have you run to Arthritis Australia with that? Because there's no cure for what I've got. It's something I'll always have. Hopefully a cure will come around, but you've got to manage it. And I don't want to, like at 50, I don't want to be having to stay at home all the time or being so exhausted I can't do anything. I'm crying all the time. Like I got to some very low mental health stages with it all because you feel like you're failing at life. It's like I'm in a position that I can work 3 days a week. But I dropped those days at work because I couldn't physically manage it. And I want to have those days that I can go and do things and enjoy my life, not go, I get an extra day to sleep all day. And that's what I was doing in the beginning, whereas now I have a lot more days that I actually don't need to nap, which to me is a big achievement.
Yeah. So tell us how things are. How is your pain levels right now? So you're 12, 14 weeks on from starting. Is that right? About that?
About 14 weeks, and I've lost 12 kilos. Thankfully, I actually got blood test results back this morning at the doctor, and both my inflammatory markers have come down, and one of them's actually now in the normal range, which is it was last blood test, and I went, oh, but let's see, because sometimes it goes up and down, but it had gone down a little bit more. So I'm really happy with that. I've still got weight to lose, and I'm still committed to doing the plan and introducing, I guess, a few more foods. My skin is much better. My gut health has improved significantly. I used to have like a lot of bloating, a lot of pain. And so sometimes if I had to go out, I go out and visit early childhood services in my role. Sometimes I would be doubled over in pain, sweating because the pain was that intense. And it's like, I've got to get in the car in 15 minutes and go. like this just needs to stop. I haven't had that at all in the last 14 weeks. So that's a huge improvement.
Yep.
My sleep has improved.
Yeah.
My mental health is still a little bit up and down, but it has improved on the whole. And some of the other, like I've added some other things in, like lymphatic drainage work. And so it's helping with that as well. My migraines, I was having probably a migraine a week. And now I probably get one about every 6 weeks. So,
yeah.
and the pain is probably
Yeah.
about the same. Some days a little bit more, but I am doing a lot more. I'm a lot more active because I've got the energy to go, yeah, I will go on that walk, or yeah, I can push myself a little bit harder at the gym. So, and that's what I want. I want to continue to lose weight. I'm okay with pain if I'm actually living life. But when you're going, I actually haven't done anything bar hang out the washing and lie on the couch and everything hurts. Whereas if I've done stuff with friends, then I go, that's okay. I can live with that. So
yeah, it's just having that a little bit of that freedom back again, isn't it? Because I mean, we always, this is not about curing things, because like you say, this is an autoimmune condition that your body is responding to. So it's going to, but managing it, that's the really, really managing it so that you can live a good life, a really good life. That's good.
what you want to do.
A really good life for you.
Yeah, because that's the thing. It's about managing it, because like the doctors can give you pain pills and the biologicals are to try and help the body stop attacking itself like it is. But there is no cure. So it's about managing it as best you can. And obviously, weight causes inflammation in your body. So if I can get that down, I know when I got my weight down last time, the inflammatory markers went down significantly. So, the aim is to get the weight down, to get more active, hopefully be able to change some of the medications I'm on, because, I'm on blood pressure medication.
Because that will also then have a further impact as well. When the time is right and you can, change those pharmaceuticals, maybe, if it's right in the future, then maybe that will also have a further impact, because that's pharmaceuticals are amazing when you need them, but sometimes they can also cause their own problems. So if we can change that so you no longer need them.
I think that's added to some of my gut issues, being on so much medication. And over the time, like I went to a pain clinic, and the medications I was on, the doctor said, to be perfectly honest, it's probably not doing all that much for you. And so I chose to come off it. And I know some people stay on them because it is working for them. I just thought it's a lot of money, it's extra chemicals, it's not really working. And when I removed them, there wasn't that much of a change in the pain. So I thought I'd rather not take those tablets, because they were adding to my exhaustion as well. So,
yeah.
And I've always been open to having a bit of, alternative medicine and traditional medicine, and trying to work out what's right for me.
I think that's the way it needs to be. Personally, we need to take all of the benefits of the different worlds
From everywhere.
Ensure that we find the right approach for the person, for the individual person. Yeah.
And that's what I like about metabolic balance, because it looks at you.
Okay.
Because my plan would be different to your plan, and you might have some similar things, but everyone has a different plan. So it's specific to your body. It's not sort of saying if everybody eats, goat's cheese, they'll lose weight. They go, well, actually, goat's milk doesn't work with your body, but almond milk should. So that's been really good.
Yeah. And I think, like if we also mention you tried lots of things and you were taking a lot of medications as well, which is enormously expensive in itself. I mean, the amount of money you must have spent on your health over the years. And also the restrictions even in working. So there's the double whammy of that expense. So it's also the impact it's going to be having on you. Um, you've already, you working with metabolic balance and working with professional coach such as Carolyn. That is what there is an expense to that. In the grand scheme of things, how would you share this, looking at that, the expense of MB compared to the expense of everything else that you've done over the years?
So it is expensive. And of course, at the moment with the cost of living, everything's expensive. But I guess I always think if you're I'm investing money for knowledge and putting things in that they've identified are good for my body and I can see the results rather than putting in medications that, you often find you take this tablet to cure or help with that, and then you take that tablet to help with the side effect of that tablet. You know, the less tablets I can take, I personally feel, the better. And I know there are some, like my doctor was concerned when I said I'd love to come off all my medication. And sometimes when things aren't working, over the years, I've thrown my hands in the air and gone, I'm just going to stop everything, see what my body does, and then start again. And they laugh and then go, but you can't really do that, which I know I can't, and I wouldn't do that. But I often wonder, how many things I've done. Does my body just need a total break to see what it does? And I wouldn't do that, obviously, without medical guidance. And, there's some things I'm on, like I'm on blood pressure. You don't want to play with that. So I just think doing it this way, it's just really all about eating. It's what I'm putting in my body and whole foods.
Do you think you've saved money on your weekly grocery bill?
Probably about the same still, I would say. There's definitely less wastage. I'm not chucking things away. It helps me plan a bit better. So if if you're somebody that likes to know exactly and have a plan, because I need to look and go, okay, I just need a little bit of this and a bit of that, or buying things and going, okay, well, what else am I going to use the capsicum in so that I don't have, 3/4 of a capsicum that then I'm going to go, oh, now a week later it's bad. So it is helping me, I guess, plan a little bit better, which then stops I didn't get anything out for dinner. I'll just get takeaway.
Yeah, that's expensive.
Yeah. So I definitely, in terms of spending money on food, like takeaway or just popping into the shops and going, I'll just get whatever I can see. I'm more mindful in terms of having a list, working out, okay, that'll keep me through till Monday. And then Monday night, I can go and do a bigger shop and get things. I've stopped coffee when I'm out. So that's an expense that I'm now not having when I go out. I've got a machine here that I do a coffee at home, which was one of the things Carolyn lets you. Some things are non-negotiable. You sort of go I can't do life without that. And it was probably about 10 weeks in that I went, no, I'm sorry. I've had shocking headaches and I have gone back to coffee with milk in it. I cannot do instant black coffee. And so we're doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's what you need.
Yeah, you want it to be a lifestyle. You don't want it to be 12 weeks and then I go, cool, all done. And now I'll go back to what I was doing before because that wasn't working.
And that's definitely not going to happen. I hope that's not going to happen for you, because that's the thing that I often or the way I often look at things that people do say that MB is expensive, But actually, when I look at it, because I see how much money you actually save weekly from the reduced takeouts and the reduced snacking and the incidentals that we all, $5 here, $8 there, $15 there kind of thing. It all slowly adds up. And also, I say the value that you will have over the coming months and years means that all of the knowledge that you've done working with Carolyn, because you're the vast majority of what the whole thing about metabolic balance is actually paying for the time and expertise of your practitioner. That is, without doubt, the biggest part of doing MB. And it is the expertise and the knowledge and the incredible brain and experience and the support that you get.
And Carolyn's only a text message or an email away. We connect once a week.
And you don't get that from a website or a book that you might buy based on something, that kind of thing. That's incredible value. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's, and it's an investment in yourself. And for women,
I agree. Yeah.
we don't tend to, and I guess I'm in a different position because I don't have children. So I know sometimes women, when they're mothers, they give everything to the children, they give everything to their partner, and they're always the last one. And, now there's some scraps left over, I'll do. Whereas I can invest the money and the time in myself because I don't have little people to invest that time and money in. And so I think everyone's worth investing that time and money in, so that you can live a good life. Like, we only get one life.
Yeah. So is that how you see the future now? Do you feel more hopeful, more confident about how you're navigating the future?
Definitely. Carolyn asked me if I would write like a Google review, and it was something that I would have done. Like, I do that if I'm happy with the service or happy with something, I do reviews because I read them, and I'm like, it's actually been like life-changing for me to minimize some of those symptoms I've had, to be able to lose weight. At 50, it's harder to lose weight. I'm in perimenopause, so that, it's another thing that it's harder to lose weight. And I've really just changed.
You can't move in that same exercise manner as well. The idea that you should exercise more, that's not going to happen for you, is it? That was not going to be in any way part of this. Yeah, you needed to eat well to get the weight.
Yeah, I know I'm not going to get back to what I was when I lost the weight the last time, but I was also younger then. And so, but I do look forward to going to the gym more often, increasing just my activity, increasing doing fun things in life, because it got to a stage that I was like, I don't even know what's fun anymore because I just drag myself around feeling in pain, sick, and exhausted all the time. So now being able to enjoy things and going, I actually can go for a walk with a neighbour, or, I've just become a great aunt. So I can go out and see him and not be going, oh, I can't do that because driving an hour is too much. It's helped give me back more of my life, and I'm looking forward to continuing working with Carolyn and on the MB program to get more of my life back.
Amazing. What would you say to another person who's listening to your story and maybe really thinking that sounds a bit like where I'm at right now?
Look for a naturopath that you connect with, and like, have a call with them and ask it what it's about. So you can ask the questions, if you're sort of going, oh, can I have this or can I have that, or how would it work with? Because I guess everybody's different, and I've sort of got a look that I've probably got close to 30 years worth of stuff in my body that's been going on. I've got other autoimmune conditions as well. So there's a lot to unravel. So ask the questions. If you're someone that goes, yeah, but I really want to do whatever, or, is it just 12 weeks and then you can go back to your, normal life and incorporate that stuff, or, whatever your questions are, because we don't know what we don't know. And so if you ask, they're the best people to give you that guidance of what it might look like for you.
Yeah. So that is a naturopath who does metabolic balance. It's probably what I would say, because not all naturopaths do metabolic balance.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, looking for somebody that does metabolic balance. Not all naturopaths do it. And talk to them about those things. I chose to pay up front for mine because it was a little bit cheaper, but there are payment options.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those will all be very much down to the practitioner as well and their business, because everybody is totally independent too. Yeah.
So looking at those things and asking them, and if they don't have a payment plan on there, ask them. Because sometimes you find businesses go, well, actually, yeah, I don't advertise it, but if people ask, I'm happy to do it. So if you ask, because I know what it's like to be at your wit's end going, I just want an answer. Going to sleep at night crying and going, if I didn't wake up tomorrow, that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, because I don't want to keep living this way. And then you wake up in the morning and you feel a bit better because you've had some refreshing sleep, not much, but some. But by the next night, you're going to be going, this is too much. It's not living.
Now you are living.
Yeah. I have a lot less days. I still have some days, but sometimes it's because I've done too much, and I still feel like a kindergartner sometimes when I'm like, I've got to have a nap before I can go out. But I've done it for 30 years, so I'm used to doing that. And my friends all know that. My family know that. I just commit to what I can. And, so I'm looking forward to being able to commit to more. And if I hadn't have found this, I'd still be going, I should try and lose weight. And I'd start a diet on Monday. And by Wednesday, I'd have sabotaged it because nothing was working. And whereas this just becomes part of your life. And it's nice food. It's food I enjoy.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing that, again, just to come back to, it just shows the power of food and the power of knowledge. So you've learned now through using metabolic balance plan, working with your practitioner, and just implementing it and just really giving it a go. You're learning new ways that is giving you that different outlook. We aren't talking miracle cures here, because that doesn't really exist, does it? I mean, miracle cures don't exist. But actually, that's the real power of it.
And when you eat the foods that are on the list, I must admit a couple of them I'm still a bit, that doesn't go so well with me. But Carolyn talks about having friends that are your foods that are your friends, foods that are your acquaintances, and foods that are your enemies. So your acquaintances, you might go, yeah, I'm happy to have them a couple of times a month, but no more. And I've found, because I was obviously having a lot of reactions to foods I was eating that was causing some of the exhaustion, a lot of the nausea, a lot of the muscle pain, because my body was going, I don't like that. Whereas now I am pretty much gluten-free most of the time. And I have had some gluten while I've been on this plan. And yeah, I could feel it the next day. And I just had the DNA health blood tests done. And that showed up that I'm susceptible to gluten intolerance. And so we were going to explore if I'm celiac. I know I'm not, because I've been tested before for that. But my niece is celiac, and I do agree. I think I am gluten intolerant. I think my body's like, no, I don't really like that. And it shows those effects. So when I'm not eating those things, for the majority of time, I do feel a lot better, because my body's not competing with things that it goes, I don't like. The sugars you're putting in me, or the...
Yeah. And it's getting all of it kind of right at the beginning, at the get-go. Not, let's get it right, let's get going, let's get some results as quickly as possible. And then the motivation can continue. Of course I'm going to carry on doing this. Why would I stop?
Yeah. Why would you want to go back to how you were? And the further into it you get, the more flexible you can be. So it's not always so rigid that you're going, because in the beginning it's like, well, how would I go out to dinner when I can't eat with fats and oils and I can't do and I can't do? But for the first couple of weeks, I just didn't have things on. I didn't have to miss out on many things. And now I'm more confident when I go out that I could order something that's closer to what's on my plan. And I'm not going to feel rotten.
So just the internet has just cut out there, and unfortunately I've lost Nick at the very end, but I just want to sort of finish off and just say a big thank you to Nick for joining me. And it's been a wonderful, it's been so lovely to hear the change that she now has and the future that she now has moving forward. Um, it is just this testament that the right food really can change things for the better. It can make things so much easier and um, lay the foundation for some really fabulous healing to come in. So, if you would like to know more about metabolic balance, if you would like to find your practitioner, please do go to the metabolicbalance.com website and you can check out more information there. And also in the show notes as well, there'll be links there too. So a big thank you again to Nick for joining me. And if you relate to anything that Nick was saying, please do get in touch with a metabolic balance practitioner and start your journey. It could really be life changing for you. So thank you. And we'll see you next time.